No, I can't, Jungkook said in a cold voice. You can't deny it, Jungkook. Mr. Jeon, his father, replied firmly. I promised Mr. Lee that you would marry his daughter. I can't break that promise. How can I marry her? Jungkook's voice grew sharper, colder. She is. No, I can't. Mr. Jeon's expression hardened. He is my best friend and I will not break the promise. I made it to him. You will marry her? That's final. With that, Mr. Jeon turned and left, his word hanging heavy in the air. Jungkook stood frozen in the living room, his mind clouded. Jeon Jungkook, 28 years old, the youngest CEO of Jeon Enterprise, mature, powerful. He commands so much authority that his employee feared him, handsome, sharp, and cold. He was mature enough to capable of solving any problem with a calculated mind, but not this. Not the forced marriage his father had pushed him into. Mr. Jeon's best friend, Mr. Lee, had a 21 years old daughter. She wasn't born like that when she was 7 years old. For her sake, Mr. Lee had taken a promise for Mr. Jeon to have his only daughter marry Miss Jeon Jungkook, the powerful CEO, and now Jungkook was bonded by that promise. But he never wanted marriage. At least, not now, never wanted to be tied to anyone, especially not to someone like her. Drawing in a deep, shaky breath, Jungkook finally turned. Today they were married. It wasn't grand ceremony, just a private one, attended by only few close people. Afterward, they arrived at Jungkook's house. He stepped inside first, while behind him a small figure followed quietly. Wine walked with a steady step, white eyes roaming around curiously around the mansion, like a lost puppy discovering a new world. Once they entered the living room, Jungkook turned, his eyes landing on her. His deep voice cut through the silence. The room upstairs on the left is yours. The one on the right is mine. Wine flinched at his tone. Her soft smile faded instantly. She twisted her fingers nervously. She looked up at him with innocent eyes and said in a small voice, Handsome husband, can I stay with you? I'm scared to stay alone in such a big house. Her words paired with her pout tugged faintly at Jungkook's heart. Something inside him shifted as he met those gentle pleading eyes. Then Wine added softly, her eyes sparkled with sincerity. And Mama also told me husband and wife should stay together. Can I stay with you? I promise I won't bother you. Jungkook's chest tightened. For a moment he couldn't look at her, so he quickly turned his gaze away. Yet his heart was betraying him, pounding faster than he wanted to admit. With a cold voice that masked his unease, he finally said, Follow me. And with that he started walking towards his room. Wine's face instantly lighted up, her pout replaced with a wide, excited smile. She hurried behind him, her small step quickened to keep up with his, as though she had just received the happiest gift in the world. As they both entered Jungkook's room, now their shared room, Wine paused for a moment, taking the surroundings. The room was dark, elegant theme, and she couldn't help but wander around curiously. Jungkook, however, simply watched her for a few seconds, remained silent. Before heading to the bathroom to freshen up, Wine noticed that he didn't say a word, and the quiet felt heavy. A flicker of fear started creeping into her mind. Is my husband angry with me? Did I do something wrong? From her childhood, Wine had lived with her stepmother and her biological father. When she was 7, her mother in a car accident. Dad had left Wine like that, as she had been with her mother at that time. After that, her father remarried, hoping someone would care for Wine. But her stepmother never treated her kindly. She was continuously scolded, called her burden, and never showed genuine love. Wine was too young to understand why her stepmother disliked her so much. All she had ever wanted was love from her mother, her father. Her father, a workaholic, had always provided her needs and safety, but never the affection she craved. She had no opportunity to express how hurtful her stepmother was, and over the years, when her marriage was arranged, her stepmother had felt a pang of jealousy at the thought of Wan marrying a wealthy and powerful CEO of Jion Enterprise. Yet she also saw a chance. At last the burden would be gone. She instructed Wan to always obey her husband, to never anger her, and to do exactly as he said, ensure he wouldn't return home again. Now sitting quietly in Jungkook's room, Wan felt old fear returning. What if her husband was angry with her? She couldn't afford to make him upset. After a while, Jungkook came out of the bathroom in a casual clothes. His eyes landed on Wan, who was lost in thought. In his usual cold voice, he said, "Go and change. You must be uncomfortable." Wan flinched at his tone, but quickly, with a bright smile, "Yes, handsome husband," she said, her voice gentle. Ever since their marriage, she had made it a habit to call him handsome husband, and it made something in his chest. With that, she headed towards the bathroom. She went to the bathroom to change, and when she returned, Jungkook was already lying on the bed, asleep. Her smile instantly faded. She had hoped they would talk all night, sharing their favorite movies, cartoons, and little stories. But now he had fallen asleep without her. With a disappointment sigh, Wan lay beside him. She mumbled to herself, "I always bring something to sleep with me, but I didn't bring my doll. How will I sleep?" She glanced at Jungkook, sleeping peacefully on his back, a safe distance away. She wanted to hold him, but quickly shook the thought away. Memories of her stepmother's scolding flashed in her mind when she accidentally held her hand. "No, I can't make him angry more. Mama already told me I can't." Carefully she inched closer, gently holding the corner of his t-shirt sleeve, twisting it tightly in her small hand. A quiet smile appeared on her lips as she finally closed her eyes, letting herself drift into sleep beside him. Morning sunlight filtered into the room, and Jungkook's eyes slowly fluttered open. He immediately felt a small tug on his t-shirt, foreign. He turned and saw his innocent wife still asleep, holding his sleeve tightly as if it was her only safe place. For a moment he just stared at her. Something inside him shifted at the sight, her tiny hands clutching him, her peaceful Ballerina face. He felt something different, something unfamiliar stirring in his chest. He turned fully to look at her. His eyes softened. Indeed, their marriage had been forced. But Jungkook was not the type to run from his responsibility. He was mature enough to understand them, and he had taken his vows seriously, to protect her, to care for her. He knew she was childish in some way, fragile, needing love and attention. And he promised himself silently he would try to give it to her. As he gazed at her innocent face, her trustful expression, he gently tucked a strand of hair behind her ear. After a while he carefully removed her small hand from his t-shirt sleeve and quietly got up from the bed, heading to the bathroom to freshen up, leaving her peacefully asleep. After a while she opened her eyes. She frowned, looking around the room, confused at first. "Where am I?" Then she remembered she was at her husband's house. In his room, a small, soft smile appeared on her lips. She glanced beside her, and her smile immediately faded. Her eyes welled up with worry. Will my husband leave me without telling me? The thought lingered, making her heart flutter nervously. After freshening up, she headed downstairs, hungry and curious. In the kitchen, she saw Jungkook cooking. Her eyes light up, and a big smile spread across her face. She ran towards him, leaning on the counter excitedly. "Handsome husband," she called out. You can cook too? Jungkook hummed in response, his attention briefly on her. You know Winnie can cook too. Noodles, ramen, pasta, everything. She said, her eyes sparkling with excitement. Jungkook looked at her, and his eyes softened immediately. In a gentle voice, he said, Go sit at the table. I'll bring your breakfast. You must be hungry by now. Wan nodded eagerly and ran towards the dining table. Jungkook's lips twisted into a small smile as he watched her. After a short while, he brought her breakfast and sat across from her, while the maid set out the rest of the meal. Wan ducked in, eating messily but happily. Jungkook noticed and said, Eat slowly, you might choke. With her cheeks puffed from food, Wan nodded and began eating more carefully. Handsome husband, you make the best food in the world, she exclaimed between the bites. Jungkook watched her, quietly noticing how innocent she looked, how little things could bring her joy. Something inside him stirred, and his heart fluttered. His eyes softened as he observed her simple happiness. When breakfast was over, Jungkook stood up. I'm going to the office. If you need anything, ask the maid or the guards. If you want, you can call me. Wan's excited eyes instantly dimmed. Her small pout betrayed her sadness. Handsome husband, can I go with you, please? She asked softly. Jungkook shook his head. No, you can't. I have meetings and will be busy. If you need anything or want to go out, tell me beforehand, he said, leaving the room. Wan watched him go, her pout lingering, a mixture of longing and sadness stay on her face. It was almost night. Wan sat in the living room watching TV after her dinner. The maids had already returned to their quarters. On the screen, a woman was cooking something on for her husband, and an idea suddenly sparked in Wan's mind. In the morning, he made breakfast for me. I should make something for him too. Excited, she ran towards the kitchen. It was already 10. Just then Jungkook arrived home. As he stepped inside, he heard a faint, soft sound coming from the kitchen. Froing, he thought, Wine should be sleeping by now. Curious, he walked towards the kitchen and froze. Wine was there, sobbing quietly, holding her hand. Jungkook rushed to her immediately. What the? How did this happen? He asked sharply, concern flashing in his eyes. Tears in her eyes, Wine whispered, I'm sorry, I don't know, it hurts so much. Without a second thought, Jungkook took her to the sink to wash her wound. After cleaning it, he guided her to the couch, grabbed a first aid kit, and carefully treated her finger. Wine sniffed and cried softly. After a few moments, she whispered, Handsome husband, I'm sorry, please don't be angry with me. Jungkook looked at her. Who told you to go into the kitchen? He asked firmly. Wine lowered her gaze. No one. Winnie saw a drama where the wife cooked for her husband, and in the morning you made something for me, so I thought. Jungkook's eyes softened immediately, but Wine continued whispering, I'm sorry, I also become a burden to you, like my mama said I was. Jungkook's expression darkened. What? His voice grew cold, sharp. Who told you that you are a burden? One trembled, still looking down. My mama. She always told me I was a burden, and now I'm a burden to you too. You will get angry with me. Jungkook stayed silent for a moment, absorbing her words, the pain in her eyes, the loneliness she carried. It was unbearable to see. Finally his voice softened as he said, No, you are not. Never ever think of yourself as a burden. Wine's eyes filled with tears, but a small smile appeared. Handsome husband, you are so good. You won't be angry at Wine. After a while, Wine on. Jungkook's gaze softened even more. Without a word, he lifted her into his arms. Wine instinctively wrapped her arms around his shoulder, resting her head on his chest. By the time he reached the bedroom, she was fast asleep. He laid her down gently, tucked her under the blanket, and stared at her for a while, lost in thought. Then he went to freshen up. After returning, he climbed into bed beside her. This time he didn't turn his back. He faced her completely, studying her peaceful face, lost in deep thought. Without warning, he pulled her close into his arms, resting her head on his bicep, his other arms around her waist, holding her tightly. Wine instinctively hugged him as she always did in her sleep. He watched her, thinking how innocent she was, like a child who only wanted love, care, and attention from her parents. Hearing how her mother had called her a burden, seeing the loneliness in her eyes made his chest ache. Jungkook's jaw clenched, thinking of her lonely past. He may have been forced into this marriage, but he knows that what she truly needed. After a while, he pulled her even closer to his chest and finally closed his eyes, holding her tight as they both drifted into sleep. The morning sunlight streamed through the window and Wine slowly fluttered her eyes open. At first, she noticed the bed beside her was empty. She immediately sat up, rubbing her eyes sleepily. Just then, the bathroom door opened. Jungkook emerged, his damp hair glistening slightly from the shower, catching the morning light. Wine froze, her eyes widening as she stared at him. Jungkook noticed her gaze and smirked. A playful, teasing smile curved his lips as he slowly walked towards her. When he finally stood in front of her, he suddenly flickered her forehead with a swift motion. Wine hissed softly, instantly rubbing the spot with a palm, her lips forming a small pout. Jungkook chuckled lowly. "Why are you staring at me like that?" he asked, his tone casual, yet laced with teasing authority. Wine, still pouting, blurted innocently, "Because you have such a big body, handsome husband." The words hit him harder than he expected. Jungkook's eyes widened slightly. For a moment his cold composed mask slipped, his heart skipped a beat before he quickly looked away, trying to hide the heat rising in his chest. Without another word he leaned down and scooped her effortlessly in his arms, while let out a soft gasp, cleansing him into like a startled koala. "Let me down, handsome husband," she stammered. "Let's go freshen up. The maids already prepared breakfast." Jungkook replied, his tone low and casual, though the corner of his mouth curved faintly as he carried her into the bathroom. Once inside, he placed her gently on the counter. One frowned. "Handsome husband, I can freshen up on my own." "No, you don't," Jungkook said in a calm, casual tone. "You have a bandage on your finger." Wine looked down at her finger innocently. Jungkook smiled softly and began helping her freshen up, carefully tending to her. Later, they sat side by side at the dining table. Breakfast was already served by the maids. One picked up her spoon earlierly, but the bandage on her finger made it difficult to hold steady. She tried again and again, only to fumble. Jungkook's sharp eyes caught every movement. Without hesitation, he took the spoon from her hand. "Come," he said firmly, his voice leaving no room for argument. "Let me help you." Wine blinked up at him, stunned, before a big smile tugged at her lips. Never in her life had anyone fed her. Never had anyone cared enough to notice her struggle. Patiently, Jungkook lifted the spoon and fed her. His gaze softened in a way that startled even himself. The maids standing nearby exchanged shocked glances, their eyes widening. Jungkook, the cold, fierce CEO, was feeding his wife with a tenderness they had never imagined. It was late at night, and rain poured heavily outside. Jungkook, just returning home, stepped into the bedroom. His brow frowned when he didn't see Wine anywhere. With a sigh, he shut the door behind him. His chest tightened at the thought of where she might be. That's when his eyes caught a sight of a figure outside on the balcony. Wine twirling in the rain, jumping and dancing with a pure joy, her laughter mixed with the rhythm of the raindrops, her smile glowing like a child lost in a favorite dream. Jungkook's heart instantly eased. He found himself standing near the glass doors, watching her silently. How effortlessly she made his heart race, her innocence, her smile, her unshaken joy, it all pulled him in without him realizing. She is making a place in his heart, Jungkook thought, unable to look away, and before he even noticed he is already stepped out into the balcony. But his eyes were on her. One turn, her eyes widened in surprise when she saw him standing so close. Her lips scratched into a bright smile. Handsome husband, you are here. You know, rain is my favorite. I love it so much. Jungkook didn't answer right away. He was too busy admiring her, her shining eyes, her damp hair, her childlike happiness. To him, she looked like the most beautiful thing in the world. His hand moved instinctively, brushing against her cheek as he leaned closer. Their faces inched towards each other, breaths mingling in the cold night air. And then one sneeze. Jungkook blinked, pulling back slightly, and just as he did, she sneezed again. A soft chuckle escaped his lips. "You'll get sick standing in the rain like this." His tone was gentle, through his eyes still lingering on her. One pouted. "But you are also here. You will get sick too." Another laugh slipped from Jungkook as he shook his head. "Let's go inside. You should take a shower first, alright?" One nodded quickly, her smile never fading, and ran inside like a child escaping the rain. Jungkook watched her retreating figure with a soft smile curving his lips, and at that moment he finally admitted it to himself. He was falling for his childish wife, falling deeply, hopelessly, without even realizing it.